scrap right there. And then who do you think is going to win between Arsenal and United? I think it's going to be a draw. A 0-0 draw.
No, I think we lose. I do. They're riding too high, and I mean, we act like we. Well, I'm not trying to be critical, but I am. It's like we beat Burnley by 1. The teams these are bottom of the table teams that we're scraping by. We don't.
But then
it's hard for me to say.
But then look at Liverpool. They're doing the same shit. They lost to Burnley at home. Yeah. So it's like
but they're not title contenders this year. I don't think Liverpool aren't even. They don't have a prayer.
I think City are going to win it, but
if anybody's going to win it above us, it's City. Yeah.
Like, Leicester, they're going to drop off. They have every year, and Brendan Rodgers has a track record of that. Liverpool, if they can they just lost Matip again, so they're going to have to play Fabinho and Henderson as center backs. So they might not last. I agree. So it's going to be between United and City probably, unless Tuchel can somehow get Chelsea back 10 points up on United and City, which
I believe you could though.
I think, but I don't see City wavering on their form. So I don't think no matter what they do.
I think they're going to go. They might lose one more game.
Yeah, exactly.
But
so I don't think,
and even then, it's a major fluke. Like they look good. They look way too good.
And I don't even think, so I don't think Chelsea even have a chance because they're 11 points off. But, and then with United,
all 4 are top.
Off top. So off top 4, Chelsea are 7 points off.
Okay.
See, but Ollie said after the Liverpool game, because someone asked him, how do you feel about this game or whatever, and he's like, don't ask me this now, ask me after Wednesday when we play Sheffield.
Uh-huh.
So obviously Ollie was drilling it into the players, do not let this slip. You just beat the league leaders in the FA Cup, knock them out. Go in Wednesday, make the point that you are here and you are making a statement. And then the players I think the players let him down. That lack of effort on the field has nothing to do with what the manager's tactics are. Rashford walking back, Martial standing in the same spot for a whole 20 fucking seconds while Cavani runs past him.
I agree. But he did not put out players that would have put in more effort than the ones who didn't.
What?
He did not put out Van de Beek, who would have been more hungry than either of the wingers we put out there. He did,
but Van de Beek's a winger, or not a winger.
You could put Van de Beek anywhere, and even then you can adapt the formation. If Tell
if you play Van de Beek, then you have to play 4-4-2 diamond.
So be it. What I'm saying is he did not put out hungry players. He did not put out he didn't put out Cavani when he put out Tellez. That's huge, dude.
But he's also
Why are you going to put out a top crosser?
No, I understand. I understand, but you just played Cavani for 90 minutes against Liverpool on the weekend, right? No, whenever we played Liverpool, then you play. I can't remember when. Oh, you played a full 90 minutes against Fulham. Then you have to you bring him on against Liverpool, and this is a 33-year-old Cavani, right?
Look,
and I understand what you're saying. You can't play Tellez without Cavani, but then if you keep playing Cavani, you're not going to get the same output from him that we have been getting. So I do agree that you should have played Cavani this game, but you also the clear thing that Ollie was trying to do was save him for Arsenal this weekend.
I get that. But I would rather have Cavani play Sheffield than Arsenal. Sheffield's defense is better than Arsenal's defense, by and large. They play a 5-back. Let's just put it that way.
I mean, I don't know.
Well, another thing though is
all those players that went out
Rashford and Martial were never going to show up in that game. They were never going to.
But you're saying that in hindsight.
No, I knew before. Dude, last week you said I'm kind of worried about Arsenal. I said I'm more worried about Sheffield. This was the last time we did the podcast, and I was right. Because this was the game we were going to fuck up on. And we talk about the entitled Martial and Rashford all the time. They beat the league leaders, and they think that they can walk into Sheffield at home. And it didn't happen. It was never going to.
But you can't blame... Again, I understand where you're coming from, but the fact that they decided not to show up, you can't blame on Ollie.
This isn't the first time that they haven't.
I know, but the thing is, Rashford hasn't showed up at all this season, and he still gets you a goal. So how are you not going to start him then? The only thing that you could say is you can't start Martial because
I'm not starting him up top.
Yeah, but dude,
I would have put Greenwood up top and Rashford on the right if I was dead set on playing anybody of those three up top.
Greenwood could not right now play up top in the Premier League. He can't. That's why he's on the left. That's why every young player who comes into the Premier League
goes to the wing first. Yeah.
Goes to the wing because they do not have the physique to go up against a Premier League center back. Martial barely does. So,
dude,
I understand where you're coming from.
That Greenwood's more stout than Rashford right now.
Yeah, but Rashford plays on the wing.
He started up top last game against Sheffield.
No, he didn't. Martial did.
On the lineup, it said Rashford, so that's what I was.
Yeah, but the way they actually played, Martial was up top. I don't know why Ollie does that all the time. Like he started Martial up top against Liverpool in the lineup, but then he was on the left wing. But I mean, I see what you're saying. But Martial this season has put in the effort because he knows he's not getting the goals, right? So you play him because he'll actually put in effort. That one clip of him standing there for 20 minutes or for 20 seconds while Cavani's running around him is embarrassing for him, right? And there's no denying that. But you can't put that on Ole after Martial has actually been trying this season. And then Rashford just standing there doing nothing. He's been doing that all year. But he's been getting you goals, so you can't not put him in.
Yeah. But I would not have... Fred didn't play either. Fred didn't play against Liverpool. There's no excuse for that.
Yeah, Fred should have played. I agree.
And I mean, like I said, if you've got to sit out Pogba or Bruno to have a...
Bruno won't sit out, but yeah, you should have sit out Pogba.
To have you got to have a shithead in there.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got... McTominay and Fred are both faster than Matic and Pogba. Both of them are faster than either of those two.
Pogba, I think, is faster. You just don't ever see him actually running.
Yeah, but
full tilt.
Pressure-wise, defensively, McTominay and Fred both. If either of them were in that game, and you're playing one of the slower teams in the league, and you're going to put out your slowest midfielders, it's multifaceted. I'm sure he's got his reasons for playing those players.
Yeah.
But on paper, I looked at the lineup, and I knew we wouldn't win because none of those players have ever carried a team over the line how the ones on the bench have. Fred's carried us this season a couple games. McTominay's carried us this season against City.
But that was basically the same. That front six.
Not against City. Who was it? McTominay scored twice against Leeds. That
front six was the exact same front six that scored 6 against Sheffield in the same game last year. So like
that exact same front six.
Exact same. Matic, Pogba, Bruno, Rashford, Martial, Greenwood. The exact same one.
Was it off a Liverpool victory, though?
No, I mean, yeah. Again, I see where you're coming from on that, but Ollie obviously made that point to them that, listen, do not fuck this up. And they fucked it up.
They were always going to.
But then that shows that they're not at that top level. And then the fact that everyone's saying
is, I could give a shit if he played last week.
Then, okay, if you play him against Sheffield,
Arsenal, dude. Honestly,
no. If you play him against Sheffield, then you don't play him against Arsenal. And then when we lose against Arsenal, people are like, why aren't you playing Cavani? This is going to be the constant thing all year, and it has been the constant thing. Whenever United haven't played Cavani and they've lost, everyone's like, why aren't you playing Cavani up top? Why aren't you playing Cavani up top? And he's a 33-year-old guy who, in the past year, has played 10 games total, and like when a striker gets to 33, unless you're Jamie Vardy, you're at the end of your career, and you can't play 90 minutes, and you can't play midweek game, weekend game, or you can't play a midweek game 90 minutes and sub in like that, or else you're screwed for the next 2 games. That is like common practice and common knowledge. So I see what you're saying. You should have played Cavani, but then you don't have him for Arsenal. And then the same thing comes up if United lose to Arsenal and don't score. It's why didn't you play Cavani against Arsenal? It's the exact same thing. I guarantee it.
I don't think it is though, because
it is.
Who have we lost to this year?
But we also have not beaten the top team.
No, but we've only lost to teams that we shouldn't have. We should not have lost to that Arsenal team. Should not have lost to that Palace team.
Well, that Arsenal match, we shouldn't have even lost. That penalty was just absolutely ridiculous. The Sheffield, we shouldn't have lost. But both of those goals were down to individual errors. And yeah, it's lack concentration, and it's down to the players and the manager at the end of the day. But the only game that United deserved to lose all season was against Spurs because no one showed up that game.
Yeah.
The game against Palace was 100% because there was no preseason. And Palace had already played 3 games and had a full preseason.
All right, I'll buy that.
So, like, really, and the thing is, this is the same thing as last year with against when it first came back from lockdown, when we drew against Spurs. That goal that Spurs scored was a calamity of errors of players that, like, you can't coach that. You know what I mean? Like, the ball gets crossed over to Shaw. Shaw heads it, instead of out wide, he heads it, or up the line, he hits it back into the middle to Bergwijn. Maguire steps up. Bergwijn kicks it around him. And then De Gea, the ball gets kicked right at him, and then De Gea isn't strong enough. So that's a calamity of errors that leads to a goal. The goal that happened against Sheffield this weekend, the guy gets the ball 3 times, not one person goes to defend him. Axel half gets in the way, and then De Gea misses it because he's already down and goes in. It's a calamity of errors, and like you can't coach that or you can't manage that. You just that's just unlucky, and that's the same thing with who was it? I think it was Chelsea. There was like for the manager, because the manager's going to get the blame for it at the end of the day, and obviously Frank did. But there was one game that there was 3 mistakes from 3 players that should not have been a mistake, and the other team ends up scoring. So I see where you're coming from. United shouldn't have lost that game, but I don't think Ollie necessarily played it wrong. Because I mean, when you have a starting 11 that you've done the shadow work with, you've done the work in the morning with, and then your center back goes out, you're already changing one person, you can't change another.
I agree.
And then Rashford, he's been doing absolutely nothing in a game all season, but he's getting you goals whenever you're in need of one. And Martial was actually putting in effort. So I don't think that you can blame Ollie all you want. I don't think that's his fault, that game.
I don't know. I don't think it's entirely Ollie's fault.
He definitely should have made subs earlier. I agree.
He definitely should have started Fred as well.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen the same way twice. He wasn't going to put out the same team and beat them 6-0 again.
Yeah. I mean, I agree. But that team should have beat Sheffield.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
But we'll see against Arsenal. Man.